800 of you in here. You can do better than that. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, that's much better. Now we'll let you into the football games. My name is Tori Shea. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Assistant Director in the Office of Student Orientation and Transition, and we are so excited to welcome you here today for your Freshman Connection orientation. We have a great agenda planned for you today, and we are going to get started right now. So I'm going to introduce Mike Belzinski, who's going to give you our professor's perspective.
Thank you for that. I actually got a good laugh because my last name is Polish. It's very tricky. Pronounced it perfectly, but they spelled it wrong on the slide. So. It's no worries. It happens all the time. I actually, when I was little, I found my kindergarten yearbook, and I wrote my first name, Michael. Did a great job. And my last name, I spelled G-A-B-C-D-E-F-G. So I've come a long way since then, but thank you everybody, good morning. It's a giant group today. My name is Mike Belzinski. I'm a professor here, and today I'm going to kind of share with you my experience being a student and a faculty member here at the university, to try and hype you up for the school, give you some advice, and I hope you all enjoy the talk today. Yeah, okay. So first thing I just want to start off with is a disclaimer, which is that this is actually my first time ever doing this talk. And when I initially signed on to do this, I was under the impression that it was going to be a small group, be like some breakfast, a little meet and greet, when in reality it's like I'm speaking to almost the entire football field. So bear with me here, hopefully you find the talk pretty good today. Before I tell you about myself, I just want to see where you all are from. So raise your hand and maybe give a cheer if you're from the state of Maryland. Okay, cool. Good move, get the in-state tuition, it's very smart. Now raise your hand if you're not from the state of Maryland, from somewhere else. Yeah, okay, cool. Lots of people as well, maybe no in-state tuition, but still a great place. Now raise your hand again if you are from the greatest place on earth. I think you probably know where I'm talking about. That's where I'm from. It's obviously the great state of New Jersey. Yeah, anyway, no, I grew up in a small town outside of Philadelphia called Berlin, New Jersey. No relation really to Berlin, Germany, but that's led to some confusion in the past. But it's a smaller town, it's got lots of farms and things like that. And I made my way down all the way here to the University of Maryland, and I became a student just like you all. This is a picture of little Mike in spring 2009 when I was a freshman. And actually probably one of my most pivotal and important classes that I took, which was the Introduction to Engineering Design. So you can see me, got my Philadelphia sports on there. Raise your hand if you're a Philly sports fan. Yeah. Trust the process, right? But no, I really enjoyed my time at Maryland, and you may be wondering, how did somebody from New Jersey end up all the way down here at this university? Well, I know it's pretty popular for people to leave New Jersey, but I had a couple compelling reasons to come to the University of Maryland. First was that my mom told me to apply, actually. So, senior year in high school, you're applying to schools and everything. I'd already applied to like 8 or 9 schools. My mom, she's a doctor. She came home from work one day and said, Mike, I talked to a patient today. He said, Maryland's got such a great engineering program. You should apply. Probably paused my video game and was like, no thanks. I'm good. I already applied to a lot of schools. But, she said, Mike, I really think you should apply. So I paused my game. I was like, well, I can't argue with that logic. I'll do it. And, like most things in life, my mom was right. Applying to Maryland was probably the best decision I ever made, because when I came down to the university, checked it out, saw the beautiful campus, all the amazing facilities, really fell in love with the university, and the cherry on top was, there's a Chick-fil-A on campus. It's in the student union, and that sounds like very trivial, but at the time my dad was a general manager of a Chick-fil-A, and I had this giant stack of free Chick-fil-A sandwich coupons. And I was like, man, I cashed these in, these are friend coupons, and that turned out to mean a really good thing for me. So at the time when I came into college, I was very interested in buildings and architecture and construction. Watched lots of HGTV, still to this day. So I started to study structural engineering. See me in my hard hat, and they did lots of activities related to this, to try and get hands-on and to build things. So I was a member of the concrete canoe team, which you might think that sounds pretty dumb, but the idea is as a civil engineer, you're building buildings out of concrete and steel, so you got to learn how to build the canoe out of concrete, and then you actually go and race it. Ours may have broken in half, but we learned a lot. Got to go down to Florida with Habitat for Humanity, build some homes, and also had a couple of different construction internships. Raise your hand if you ever drove on I-95. Like everybody, haha. You've probably driven over a stretch of the road if you've taken the express toll lanes. No one ever takes those, but it's okay. But anyway, that's what I was really interested in. But in addition to taking, clubs and activities related to things that I was really keen on, I thought I would get involved in some other things that I was also interested in as well. So I became an engineering tour guide. I worked in the career services office. I actually also studied abroad for 2 weeks in January of 2011. Huge experience for me. Anyone guess where I went? And just yell it out. Australia. Excellent call. You can tell probably because we've got the little fuzzy grandpa koala bear right here. They're super adorable and delicious. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I did all these things, and I also became a teaching assistant for that class I showed you in the beginning where I built the hovercraft, an undergraduate teaching assistant. And I really, really loved this job. And I began to realize, while I love construction, I really enjoyed being in front of people and walking backwards and telling jokes. So to that end, I thought, I want to pursue this further. I want to go to graduate school to try and learn more about teaching and see if this is something that might be for me in the long haul. So I moved out to the West Coast, University of California, Berkeley. This is one of those rare pictures you get where you can actually see the Golden Gate Bridge. Carl the Fog's not there. But I pursued lots of activities in relation to pursuing this new passion of mine, which was teaching. So I became a physics TA, developed an affinity for jumping on desks, again was a campus tour guide, and I worked at Stanford University teaching a summer camp. And through doing all of these things, I really cemented it that, this is my passion. Teaching is what I love doing. It's what I want to keep doing each and every day, forever. So I came back to the University of Maryland, had this great opportunity to come back and work with all the teachers that I had when I was a student, which is a little weird sometimes. I said, just call me Bob. It's, whoa, Dr. Barneberger, I can't do that. But you get used to it. And I now teach a lot of the same classes that I actually had when I was a student. So here I am teaching the ENES 100 Intro to Engineering Design course. Students build a little robot car, it's a lot of fun. Here I am now spreading my Philadelphia fanhood to my students. This is Statics, Mechanics, Materials, where the students build a little truss bridge. And they come up with a clever team name. Their team name was Trust the Process. Some of you may get that, some of you are like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's okay. But now I also actually got the opportunity to go back and teach the study abroad trip in Australia. That was a lot of fun. I've taught study abroad courses in Greece and Italy, and I've now made my own courses that we lead each year to Iceland and Costa Rica. And the courses there are called Mechanical Engineering 407, the Land of Fire and Ice. So I gotta get that marketing in there. The Costa Rica version is called the Land of Fire and Jungle. Sustainability, climate change, renewable energy systems. So all those buzzwords. But it's a lot of fun. And in addition to having fun in the classroom in these classes, I also had a lot of fun when we transitioned to online learning. Maybe some of you don't agree with that. But I took it upon myself to use my video editing skills to have a lot of fun and make pretty crazy videos out there, so some of you may see these. But I created what some of my students dubbed was the MCU. Anyone an MCU fan? This is the Mike Cinematic Universe. So I have superpowers like the Hulk. I got to fight giant Arduino monsters. I used shrink rays to go to the quantum realm, and I even wielded a lightsaber. So lots of fun. You gotta really enjoy what you do, and I'm lucky to be able to say that I do. Outside of teaching, I have lots of other hobbies and things that I'm active with, but probably my two biggest ones are baking and traveling. So baking, my students know this one because I bake for them probably way too much. This past spring, actually, one night I made 160 cookies. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love and it worked out. So I'm most known for my lemon bars, And the number one comment I get on all of like my midterm feedback surveys is, Mike, when are you going to bake for us? And I say, when you guys do good on the exam. Hasn't happened yet, I'm just kidding. Unfortunately, today I wasn't able to bake for all of you. It's a little bit too much work, I think. But maybe in the future you see me around campus, there's always a good chance I've got some baked goods. In addition to baking, I also love to travel in my spare time. So I've been to 38 states and now actually 39 different countries. This is a photo of me feeding a deer in Japan. This is from a trip to St. Lucia I took in the winter, and then this is my most recent picture. Does anyone know Game of Thrones? You actually never watched it. I only saw the very final episode. I had no qualms with that. I was like, that makes sense. But this is actually a picture of me in Dubrovnik in Croatia. I just got back from a trip over there. Probably why I'm super tan. But anyway, that's a lot about me. Let me share with you some advice on college and some of the things that I have learned since I've basically been in college my entire life at this point. I've been teaching now for 7 years, as a student for 4 years, grad student for 3 years. So a very, very long time. So hopefully I have some experience on this subject. But my advice to you is, in college, it's a really, really exciting time. You are going to take lots of really interesting courses. You're going to learn new things that are going to blow your mind, expand your worldview. And, one thing I want to tell you all is don't be afraid to change your mind. When I came into school, I thought, oh yeah, architecture, construction, that's exactly what I want to be involved in. But then I found out I loved teaching, and now I do that. When actually I first came in, I was a mechanical engineering major. And my mom helped me fill out my demographic information. And she filled me in as a mechanical engineer. I said, Mom, why'd you do that? She's like, wasn't that what you always said you wanted to do? I was like, no, I've always said civil engineer, you don't listen. But I just went to the office, switched to actually bioengineering for like a few days, and then realized I don't like chemistry. Then I switched back to civil engineering, and then ultimately I switched to teaching. So don't be afraid to change your mind. You're 17, 18 years old, I've always thought it's insane that you have to pick the entire trajectory of your life when you've never taken any of these classes or worked or anything like that. So it's totally fine to do that. As Yogi Berra, former Yankees player, once said, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. I think it's a pretty good one. Now, while you're in your classes and you're learning about all these new subjects and all this material, remember that the single most important thing you can learn about in school, at least in my opinion, is yourself. Find what you're passionate about. I'm not sure if you've heard this quote, but success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you enjoy something, you're probably going to be good at it. You're going to put in the work. And then if you're good at it, success will follow. Right? So learn what those passions are. That's what I was able to do, and luckily I found my dream job. But get involved and try new things. That's the only way you can learn about yourself. You're not just out there to build your resume. You're there to figure out who you are and what you like. And what you don't like, right? So take some fun classes. When I was a student, I took softball, business golf. Yes, that was a class I got to go out and play golf. It's pretty sweet. It's still a class. And I got an A, which definitely helped my engineering GPA. I took a modern dance class, and actually this is a photo of me from a YouTube video you can find where we did a flash mob around campus. I'll save you the dance performance till later if you want. But I volunteered, you get involved in clubs, take on jobs throughout the campus. You'll meet all sorts of different people doing that. Get internships. Find out if the career you want is out there, and if you like the job through that. Maybe do research, and definitely study abroad. I can't recommend that enough. It's going to be one of the most amazing experiences of your life. Obviously, I'm self-serving in some ways because I teach these study abroad courses, but either way, I definitely recommend them. And take advantage of all the free sporting events that you get to go to. A lot of universities actually make you pay to go to the sporting games. Now, maybe Maryland offers them for free because we're not that great yet. But take advantage of it nonetheless. Take advantage of all the facilities. We've got a great gym, great buildings, all these things. And at any time, anywhere on campus, there's always free pizza. I'm sure. So just walk in and be like, oh yeah, is this club thing? Yeah, I'm interested. Grab some pizza. And realize that Washington, D.C., this amazing city, is just right down the road. It's actually where I live, quick metro ride away. Now, while college is an extremely exciting time, it can also be a challenging time as well. This is not high school anymore. You don't have your parents looking over your back. You don't have 6,000 assignments to help you boost your grades. Some classes, like exams, are 80% of your grade. That's 4 exams or something like that, right? So it's a lot more serious. You may be used to getting straight A's in school, but like me, I ended up having to adjust. I actually got a couple C's my first semester in school, and I found it to be quite a hard adjustment. And I remember when I talked to my mom, she said, Mike, maybe the reason you're struggling in school your first semester is because you're spending so much time with fantasy football. And I thought, well, that's not good news because my fantasy football team is terrible. And I'm terrible at school. I'm not good at anything. But I didn't let that, get me down. In college, one of the major things you need to figure out is how to deal with adversity. The world isn't just going to do everything you want it to do. When things go wrong, don't go with them. As I was struggling, I didn't take that as a sign that, oh, I stink, I'm terrible, I'm dumb. I took it as a lesson. I learned from that and I said, why am I not getting the grades that I want to get in my classes? And I tried to really think about, how I can do better. So learn from any of these experiences and don't get yourself down. Things are going to go wrong sometimes. Success isn't just this linear path. It's going to be a bit messy, right? So work hard, study, obviously, and I would suggest you learn how you learn. So figure out what strategies are going to be useful to you, and don't try and go it alone. Take advantage of all of the resources you have available to you. Form study groups. It keeps you more consistent with studying. It makes things a lot more fun to bounce ideas off of each other. Attend review sessions, and reach out to your professors and your teaching assistants. Everyone here is here to try and help you. No one's trying to stab you in the back or trick you or anything like that. One of my favorite professors, Albus Dumbledore, once said, help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. I think the same is true here at University of Maryland. We don't have the sword of Gryffindor, but we do have lots of great resources to help you in your classes and to help you succeed. And last 2 slides really is just remember that you're at this great university. You've got all these amazing opportunities and things in front of you. But when you go out there into the real world and you try and get a job, it's not the name of the university you attended that matters the most. It's the name you make for yourself at that university that truly carries the most weight. Who do you want to be? What adjectives do you want to have people describe you with? I always tell my students, your professors don't write your letters of recommendation. You do. Right? I can only write what I see. So you can't just walk it in. You can't just go to class and expect that things are going to happen. You got to put in the work. You got to try really hard, and you got to be the best version of yourself. And in the end, when you acquire all these skills, hopefully you find your passion. It's not the resources you get or you gain from the university that make you great. It's how you choose to use those resources to go out and make a better world for yourself and for others. So with all of that, I wish you the best of luck. You're going to have an awesome time at Maryland, and make sure you rub Testudo's nose every single time you pass it, because that's a great tradition and it'll bring you lots of luck. Thank you.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is